Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to the Rose Code podcast, where we gather to journey through the sacred cycles of life, turning pain into power and wounds into wisdom. I'm Katie, your spiritual guide and mentor, here to support you on your healing and wellness path. Together, we'll explore deep, transformative practices that awaken the divine feminine, helping you reclaim your power and thrive. Every month, we come together for our live moon ritual, celebrating the new and full moon with sacred ceremonies. Be sure to check the details below to join next month's ritual and immerse yourself in yoga, meditation, divine feminine activations, and our vibrant community calls. Let's dive in and transform together.
Get into the practice. But you're very welcome to the new moon in Pisces, the powerful, because everything like what we were doing on Sunday with the mantra, the sa, ta, na, ma, it's all about birth, life, death, and rebirth. And we really, really have to allow ourselves to be okay with letting go. So imagine when autumn time comes, if the trees are like hanging on to the leaves, it's like they just have to let them go, because they know that now in springtime new buds are emerging, and it's in that letting go that the energy reverts back in, and that we can begin to cultivate and grow something new with more wisdom, with more knowledge, with more experience. So when we follow the cyclical nature, as you know so well, that everything is a cycle, nothing is ever linear. And that's where it comes back to the feminine way, the letting go, the receptivity, the surrender. And when we surrender, we're truly trusting in the universe, even if it's really hard and even if it's really uncomfortable, because death is uncomfortable, but it is the ultimate liberation because we are free. So I just want you to sit with that for a moment within your own self. And notice if there is anything that you are clinging or holding on to or really at war with. And it's not a place in your head, it's a place in your heart, where it's more neutral, where it's more quiet, where it's more feeling rather than thinking. And just ask your heart, hey heart, what do you want me to know? What am I ready to let go of? What am I ready to begin? And just breathe to support the connection, the process, and perhaps nothing comes up. And when we plant those seeds, those questions, after this ceremony, within this lunar cycle, within this new phase of moving into spring, the answers will come, whether through symbols or journaling or divine timing. And just place your hand onto your heart, letting your heart know that you fully support it, that you are here for it, and that you will journey together through this life, through this season, through this lunar cycle. And whenever you're ready, you can gently come back to open-eyed awareness of the room. So the more we drop into the heart and ask and break up that, again, linear process, that this is the way it's always been done and this is the way it has to be. And again, that's very masculine, structure orientated, just put your head down and persevere, where the heart is like, it's okay to step back. It's okay to reassess things. It's okay to let things go. And we all know that through our grief journey, that when something comes into our life and it goes, that there is that period of missing that person or that experience or that version of you. But we know that something new is going to come in, not to replace that, but to have a new perspective, to have a new life experience. because the soul knows that everything in life is an experience. It's not good or bad. The heart doesn't judge situations as good or bad. It's just an experience. And each experience is an opportunity to grow and to evolve and to be more compassionate and to be more loving and to be more connected to our inner wisdom. So that's what Pisces is really allowing us or asking us to do. It's like, can you trust? Can you trust your inner wisdom? Can you follow the guidance, the whispers, not what somebody else is telling you to do or what your ego says is the right thing to do? It's like trust and flow, because the Pisces is all about the water element, the two fish, and think of the cosmic energy. I always feel cosmic energy, even though it's very etheric, very up there in the ethers, it feels like watery, fluid. Like think of the Milky Way. And when we begin to embody that or allow those streams and waterfalls of wisdom to flow to us and through us, we're really beginning to bridge heaven and earth. And we're becoming a vessel for this universal light, this universal energy, this universal flow. So it could be your ego, your mind that is affecting that flow. So how can you let go, to expand, to allow that flow to be more effortless? Like the feminine, it has no boundaries or borders. It just continues to flow. And water doesn't flow up the mountain. It doesn't flow upstream. It goes downstream. And how much easier it is that to go with gravity, to go with the natural flow, to go with the laws of nature and the laws of the universe, rather than saying, no, actually, I'll go against that. So again, this is where a lot of us can feel a lot of conflict and war within ourselves when we're fighting, when we're struggling, when we're striving. It's like, you can just let that go. You can just put that struggle down and notice how it feels in your system when you just put it down for a moment. Or even in meditation, it's like, what would life be like if I just stopped doing that? And it doesn't have to be an overnight exit. It can be a process. Be like, okay, well, that feels expansive, or that feels lighter, or that feels less stressful if I just put that down. And when we allow the mind to experience that, the body will follow suit to take action. So again, we're bridging the Shiva and the Shakti, the body and the mind, the consciousness and the earth. So again, as we move now into out of winter and into spring, it's a huge time for reflection because we have Mercury retrograde. Love it. We have the eclipse seasons. Again, love it. So really, we don't have any control whatsoever. So the more you lean into where the universe is asking you to pivot, to change, to transform, go with that, because it's all going to happen very, very quickly. So the more you are flexible and fluid, like the water element, dancing through it rather than being like, no, this is what I decided. This is how it's meant to be. Which feels easier? Which feels more effortless? Going with the flow or being rigid? Because you made a decision some time ago that this is the way it must be. So have your dreams, your desires, your aspirations, but always end those with this or something better. And that can be a big missing link in our manifestations, in our prayers, because we are so limited in our mind. We are so limited in what we can see because we only know what we know through life experience. So think about yourself 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Could you have ever imagined that you are capable of achieving what you've achieved to this date? Absolutely not. And how wonderful it is to have those surprises along the way, moments where, wow, I could have never dreamt this up, because the universe always has bigger and better plans. Don't take that as a ticket, though, to just sit back and be like, I'll just coast through life. Of course, we have to take grounded action. And that's where journaling, vision boarding, Kundalini yoga, regular yoga, moon rituals, that's us taking grounded action. That's us attuning ourselves to the higher frequency, to the higher consciousness, and saying to the universe, yeah, I'm also adding to this. I'm also participating in my own healing. I'm also participating in my own journey. And that's the secret. That is the missing link in a lot of, oh, you know, I've done the manifestation board, I've done the visioning, but you have to bring it down to another layer. You have to embody it, and you have to be willing, not necessarily to work hard, but to put the energy in. So you and the universe are working together. And again, in the Pisces symbolism, you see the two fish merging together. It's like you and the universe, like creating this spiral, creating this connection, working together collectively, cosmically, in women's circles. You know, we're not here to do it alone. So don't separate yourself from the universe, from source, because that's where the suffering happens when we're in that disconnection is there. So it's a very intuitive time, it's a very cosmic, dreamy time, and it's a time to really allow yourself to lighten the load, to really put down the heaviness that you've been carrying. And there's a lot of vulnerability in that. There's so much vulnerability in that because we're so accustomed to showing up in our wounded self, or showing up as like, oh, this is what's happened to me and this is why I am the way I am. And of course, yes, that is part of your story, but you want to keep bringing up that energy. So again, this is an opportunity to clear the slate and write a new story, write a new chapter, because again, we can keep rehashing the old chapters, the old ways. And that's where you have to ask yourself, is this story, is this version of me serving me? And your heart will let you know yes or no. Of course, the mind wants to be in the familiar. It loves to be in the negative because there's safety there. There's familiarity there. There's the inner knowing there, but not in a good sense. So the mind will keep us in this perpetual cycle of familiarity, even if it's not for our highest good. So with that said, Alice, is there anything fabulous? Yeah, and that's really the wish from the universe at the moment, is like, just trust. Please just trust. Like, when it's always worked out for you. Like, we've always gotten you through whatever period of our unknown or the dark night of the soul. You've always got through it because you're here. So it's like, can you really trust, just like you trust that the sun comes up in the morning and it sets in the evening? Like, we just know that that's a fact, and we don't question, oh, I wonder will the sun come up today? So you're being asked to have that level of trust and knowing that if I jump off this imaginary cliff, not a real cliff, please, not a but if we jump off this imaginary cliff, that the universe will catch me. I have no doubt. I know, but I have to take the leap.
Yeah.
So I'm going to pull some cards. I have 2 decks, Messages from Your Angels and the Rose Oracle, because I feel that there is a lot of guidance and direction that is wanting to come through. We'll just do a small little sage cleanse. So breathing in the energy of the sage, the consciousness of the sage, to clear, cleanse, bless, and protect this space, the messages, our perspective. If there's anything that you'd like deeper on personally, just bring that to the forefront of your mind and your heart and send it into the cards. Take a deep breath in and exhale, let it go.
So let's see what cosmic energy downloads that want to come through. Yes. Okay. So the first one is the bloom. Creation realized, right time, harvest and celebration. Yes, it is the right time. And it is time for your creations to come to fruition. So we're going to do a ritual and practice at the end that is so nourishing from this, because we were speaking on Sunday about manifestation, and it's like you'll always be a dreamer unless you bring that vision down. And you have to bring it down because it doesn't have any mass here. And in order for it to become into the physical, it has to gain mass. And that's through bringing it down through your chakra system and birthing it out into the world. So, harvest, I know you've been working so, so, so hard. And sometimes it can be like, what is this all for? So now it's time to reap your rewards and celebrate. Like that, I work with so many women, and it's like, oh, I'm never doing enough and I haven't gotten anywhere. I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Let's just cycle back there. You've done this, this, and this, not only in the last 6 months, but in the last 2 years. And they're like, oh, yeah, I forgot about that. So, again, it's all about our perspective. And if we don't pat ourselves on the back, our inner child is like, oh, I'm not good enough. It's never, I never get recognized for my accomplishments. And they can be super little ones like, I got up early today and I've got up early all this week. Wow, I'm so proud of myself. Or I didn't get a takeaway this week. I, made my fake away or whatever. And I know they can be really like silly, maybe meaningless things, but your inner child hangs on to every word. And so many of us are super kind and compassionate to everybody else, but really hard on ourselves. So, how can you be kinder and more acknowledging of your achievements, big and small? Oh, trust the seasons, hey? Embracing change, cycles of life, transition, and growth. It says it in the cards. So, sometimes growth and transformation isn't about something new. It can be just about creating space, because we love things. Human beings love gathering things. They love having property and money and cars and clothes. And, this actually costs us, not just investing in them, but it costs us space. But think about when you have a big clear out in your wardrobe, like, oh, I feel so fresh. I can see all those lovely items that I had forgotten about. And it's like, you just don't go out and just buy more clothes to fill the space that you've just created. So during this next 2 weeks, as we move towards the full moon, try clearing out your space, your mental space, your physical space, maybe um, clear out your diet a little bit or your social calendar, and just make space, because then the universe will be like, okay, she's made some space, so let's drop this in, or let's guide her towards this, because she's always so busy, or she's always so on the go that she's not even stopping to smell the roses. And speaking of a wild rose, do it your way. Embrace your uniqueness untamed. So, society projects the feminine or portrays the feminine as, we must be pristine, have our nails done, makeup, hair, and we must be polite and ladylike. And yes, there is a time and a place for that. I definitely agree. But the feminine is wild. She is chaotic. She is destructive. She is the creatrix, but she is also the destroyer. So, what part of you that wants to be rewilded? What part of you that wants to be messy and feral and just like let your hair down and let that Kali energy out? Because when we suppress that, it causes a lot of anger. It causes a lot of dis-ease and disconnection, and it can come out in really inappropriate ways. So, you're being asked to be like, what makes me so unique? What are my quirks? What is my dark side? And that's not a bad thing, and it's not associated with evil or any of that. We have to get rid of light is good and dark is bad. The darkness or the dark side really shows us our strength, our power, and what sets us apart from the mundane, basically. And then the last card, the bud, potential, promise, it's about to happen, keep going. So again, if you've been working really, really, really hard, sometimes a lot of work has to go into the background before you actually see anything come to fruition. So the bud, you can see the buds now, the potential of the growth coming at spring. So you're not constantly digging up to say, is it here yet? Is it growing? You plant the seeds, you water the seeds, you nurture the seeds, and you know that there's a gestation period. So know that there's something coming up through the surface. So keep putting the work in, keep taking the steps. Maybe if you feel like you're working really hard, give yourself a little break, give yourself a little date day, give yourself a little treat, come back with fresh new eyes and see what else needs to be done. So let's see what these cards want to say. Okay, 2. Ooh, Desiree. No, conditions aren't favorable right now. Wait or look into other options and ask the angels to help, guide, and comfort you. So again, with eclipse season, with Mercury retrograde, it's not a time to set anything in stone because huge karmic energy is being cleared, paths are being wiped and redirected. So wait until there's more certainty. Again, it doesn't mean keep taking daily action, but there's more clutter to be cleared because your perspective is very clouded at the moment. Again, perhaps there could be wounds in the way, or there could be too much noise around you, or too many opinions. So again, hand it over to the universe. Trust that divine timing will lead you to where you need to be. But now is not the time to commit to anything just yet. So patience is what's being pinged into my ear. The last one then is Azure. Your desired outcome will occur in the very near future. Have patience and faith and don't try and force it to happen. So again, this is the second card of confirmation to be like, just wait. And you can see here, there's so much abundance. Look at all of this gold. And when it's time to go, you will just leap because you've done all the work and you're like, I have it. And now it's the time to go. So think about a pregnancy. If it doesn't make the 9 months term, there can be a lot of complications. So don't try and force this birthing of your creation. Give it the time it needs to properly form. And when the time is right, the contractions will happen. You will like, it's time to go. Let's go. Wow. Okay. So with that said, our practice today will be some grounded Kundalini to bring that visionary energy down into the body. We're going to release limiting beliefs through an inner essence journey at the very, very end because, again, the new moon, because it's the dark moon, it can bring up a lot of shadows. So instead of running away from the shadow, meet your shadow, acknowledge and be aware of, wow, they're the beliefs that I really have. Let's get rid of them. Intention is everything because where focus goes, energy flows. And we're going to embody the inner goddess because she is the energy that is going to help you move forward and move and flourish and blossom into this version of you that you see or that you know or that you are longing for. So bringing these elements together through breath, movement and sound is what's really going to help to spiral all of that energy down into the body, which is always in the present moment. So if you have a question, thank you for listening. If you're looking for more, don't forget to check out the Rose Code community in the description below.